Hello and welcome to this week's edition of Newsgram. I couldn't think of a better time than right now to talk about student athletes and basketball. At the time this podcast is being written, we are staring straight down the alley-oop of the NCAA playoffs. You didn't like that, did you? How about the free throw line? You get the idea. It's right around the corner. Anyway, depending on when you're hearing this show, it may or may not be time to work on your bracket. But let's set all that aside and focus on the story of Chante. He's a high school athlete that once took a moonlight jog and unleashed a series of events that would test his fortitude, challenge his courage, and awaken feelings he had guarded and suppressed all of his life. And right now you're probably saying, hey, wait a minute, Sam. Is that real? Because it sounds like fiction. And you would be right. I'm talking about a story called VALIENTE, Courage and Consequence. It's the first novel in the VALIENTE series by A.G. Castillo, and it's coming to my attention during college basketball season. So let's check it out.
It's just the angst of a teenage life as he comes to terms with who he is.
That's A.G. Castillo, and yep, that's pretty much it. But there's a lot more to it. So let's start with the cover. It features a basketball player in uniform holding a basketball, and another shot of him in shadow praying to the rosary. On the bottom of the book, there's a group of young men on a cliff.
All of it is symbolism. Holding a rosary and praying, the Jimenezes have a strong Catholic conviction, and so his mother has an altar where she prays and lights candles every day and prays to it. So that was part of why that image is there. But the guy holding the basketball with the lights on him, I mean, he's a stud athlete, and the lights are always on him, and having the courage for people to see him on the stage for who he really is part of the novel. And then, of course, the very bottom, you have that one who's needing help. Well, those are his friends reaching out to help him over the cliff.
This is the story of Chante Jimenez, a Latino high school athlete with very strong family ties.
I wanted to have a strong familial setting with the Latino culture. I wanted a character that was going to be universal, that could transcend the barriers of stereotypes and sexual identity. And I wanted it to be something that was current and relevant. For me, Valiente is just a tale about a star athlete who is struggling with who he is, trying to come to terms with the reflection in the mirror, and a Latino family who is close-knit, but they fight hard, but they love harder. And the things that happen to him that surround him throughout the book, he has to have the courage to accept that reflection in the mirror, but then there's consequences as well.
And the first thing he has to deal with is the unexpected death of his father and his best friend's suicide. He also struggles with the pressures of being a student athlete and all the things that come with growing up. Here's an excerpt for you, read by the author.
Mrs. Jimenez delicately covered her mouth as she yawned. It's been a long day. I think it's time for me to go to bed. She turned off the light as she walked out of the kitchen. She gave Chante a hug and whispered in his ear, "Remember, mijo, that sometimes being valiente can be as simple as loving yourself." Chante thought about his mother's parting words as he watched her walk down the hallway into her bedroom. He sat down on the recliner and began to chronicle everything that had happened earlier that day and realized he was incredibly lucky. He had friends who defended him, a basketball coach who believed in him, and a family who loved him. He was blessed. Still, he just couldn't understand the emptiness he felt in his chest. It was like his soul was searching for something, but it didn't know what it was. And even though it appeared that his life was planned for the next 5 years with sports, scholarships, and college, Chante felt like he was drifting aimlessly in the wind.
High school can be brutal. I think we can all agree on that. And dealing with the pressures that come with it, like bullying and sexuality issues, they're sometimes too much, let alone family pressures, and then those that come along with being a starting point guard.
Being a teenager back in the 80s when I was a teenager was tough, but it's just really tough right now to be a teenager. There's so many different things that I never had to deal with, social media being one. This was targeting more teenager, young adult.
The VALIENTE series includes 3 different books: VALIENTE, Courage and Consequences, VALIENTE, Tattoos and Temptations, and VALIENTE, Flames and Fury. If there's a young adult in your family or circle of friends, I think they'll enjoy this one. You can read an excerpt or learn more about the author if you visit his website, and it's very simple, agcastillo.com. And there's a link to it right here in the show notes. And that will do it for another edition of Newsgram from webtalkradio.com.